well as she did by now. "You're going to knock it clean out of the park," he'd told her the night before, leaning across and carefully shutting the lid on her laptop. "But I still need to—" she began on a protest that died on her lips as his mouth covered hers. "Oh, well," she continued with a happy sigh, as she slid her hands beneath the hem of his t-shirt and allowed them to explore the muscles of his back. "I can always wing it." "Wish me luck," Lisa said now, rising smoothly on her skyscraper heels that narrowed the difference in their heights to only a few inches. She moved in for a hug, enveloping Alex in a cloud of the perfume she only wore on special occasions. And this was a special day for her. He knew that from the nervous excitement glittering in her eyes. He pulled her against him, his heart contracting weirdly as her familiar curves molded against him, like a yin and yang symbol. He released her with a reluctance he couldn't explain. "Break a leg. Break both legs," he'd said, claiming one last kiss before she left. The sound of her laughter followed her down the hallway as she headed for the front door. Those were the last words he said to her that morning. Connor was obviously enjoying the novelty of being left in the care of parent number 2, a clearly inferior candidate for the job who took twice as long as his mum to get him ready for school. That said, Alex felt he scored bonus points for dealing with Connor's claims that his toothbrush tasted funny, and for successfully locating the missing school shoe that was mysteriously found buried beneath his pillow. Despite the fact that they should have already been in the car and on their way, Alex took his time lacing up the shiny black shoe on his son's swinging foot. "Everything all right, big guy? Nothing bothering you at school, is there?" Connor's scissoring feet stilled, and Alex felt a frisson of panic. His son was a quiet, intelligent boy, the kind who teachers adored and other kids kept at arm's length. He had a few school friends, but both Alex and Lisa had also seen him standing all alone at the edge of the playground, waiting to be collected. Alex briefly wished Lisa hadn't had to catch that early train, because she was way better at this kind of thing than he was. From the moment the midwife had placed their newborn son into her arms, there'd been an unbreakable bond between his wife and child. He'd never felt excluded, and yet he knew that Connor's need for his mum far exceeded his need for Alex. "That'll all change when he has to learn how to shave or parallel park or ask a girl out on a date," Lisa had predicted. "That's when you'll come into your own, babe." As none of those things were imminent, Alex still felt like there was a gigantic L plate pinned on his back. Lisa, meanwhile, was acing the parenting test. "My tummy feels kind of funny," Connor admitted, rubbing his hand against his stomach. "Like you're going to be sick?" "No, it just feels like I've eaten something squirmy." His words perfectly described the weird sensation Alex himself had felt in the kitchen. He laid an inexperienced hand against Connor's forehead, the way he'd seen Lisa do 100 times before. As far as he could tell, his son's temperature was normal. "Why don't we tell Mrs. Anderson about it when we get to school, and then, if you still don't feel well later, I can always come and fetch you. I'm going to be working from home today." Even while Alex was busy double-checking Connor's seatbelt was secure, he was wondering whether he should phone Lisa and run his decision past her. Was it the right call to send Connor in? He glanced at the clock on the dashboard as he buckled himself into the driver's seat. The chances were she was already on the station platform by now, but if he told her that Connor was feeling ill, he knew she'd abandon the exhibition in a heartbeat and come back home to be with him. Alex shook his head determinedly. Lisa had worked too long and too hard for this kind of recognition, and he wasn't going to rob her of her big moment because of something as trivial as a squirmy stomach. Either his or Connor's. They could cope without her for a single day. "Of course we'll keep an eye on him, but these things often miraculously disappear once they're here with their little friends." Alex's eyes flew to Connor, who was sitting alone at a low table and reaching for an overflowing pot of crayons and a sheet of paper. Quite a few of the children were running around the classroom like miniature escapees from an asylum. Others were delving into boxes of construction toys, books, and dressing up.